So we have to get you a new one.
Well, I have the other one, but
This is the one you like.
well, I like it because it has this. But yeah, just like I don't know how to fix. I don't even know how to fix it.
What happened to it? The Lakin?
Yeah. Alright, welcome to our last game of the weekend. We play the Chippewa Steel. We're going to start off with Miller and Rubicki at D, Nietzsche, Pulauskas, and Letcher for forwards. Face-off controlled by Fury, and Miller's going to dump it in. Intercepted by Chippewa, and they're back to the neutral zone. Good stick by Letcher, knocked that puck over to the sideboard. Nietzsche chips forward for Pulauskas. Pulauskas one-on-one. Chippewa back-checking hard. Puck goes into... Ooh! Pulauskas trips over a stick and heads into the board. Puck comes to the near board. Miller takes a hard hit. Puck comes loose and into the neutral zone. Chippewa's got a 3-on-2 right now. Puck goes wide, shot, deflected in the backboard over to the far board. Nietzsche tries to chip forward for a Letcher, but gets into the feet of a Chippewa player. Chippewa goes for a change, and Fury goes for a change. Reynolds comes out with Paulo and Chilicki. Puck to the far board. Chilicki hard off of the board, going to go all the way down. I think that's going to be an icing. Yep. So 15:59 left in the first, and we're going to come back for a defensive zone face-off. Dabrowski in net today for Fury. Face-off controlled. Onak comes around up for Reynolds. Bounces off Reynolds' stick. Chippewa goes back the other way. Onak in control. Onak through the neutral zone. Blows by one guy. He's all alone in front. Shot. And it's in. No call yet by the officials. Puck is in the net. All right, still no call, but we're going to go with a goal. Onak on his own. And Fury up 1-0, 15:39 remaining in the first. Paulo wins that faceoff back to Aldridge. Aldridge to Reynolds. Reynolds sidesteps the guy. He's on his own. Over to Chilicki. Shot by Reynolds. Comes out in front. Reynolds hard on the check. Ooh, puts his guy on the boards, who takes out the linesman. Puck into the zone. Chippewa. Chilicki comes over to help, gets hold of it. Back to Reynolds. Reynolds forward for Chilicki. Chilicki cross ice for Przgintis. Przgintis shot gets deflected and goes wide. Puck past Miller. Paulo hard on the back check. Przgintis gets a piece of it. Checked into the linesman again. They're okay. Couple linesmen getting hit today. Miller brings the puck in. Carter is out. Brown is out. Pushkowski is out. Chippewa's got a 2-on-1. Carter hard on the back check. Dabrowski save. So after that goal by Onak, 1-0, 14:39 in the first. Pushkowski comes to take the face-off. Miller, Przgintis at D, Carter, and Brown at wing. Face-off controlled by Chippewa, goes onto the sideboard. Carter gets it out. Chippewa puts it back in. Delayed offsides. Puck goes all the way down. Miller controls. Behind Dabrowski, over to Przgintis. Przgintis up to Carter. Glove down. That's a hand pass if somebody else touches it, but Chippewa got a hold of it first. Miller to Brown, misses his stick, goes all the way down for icing. We're going to get a D change. Onak comes out with Rubicki. Same offensive pairing. Face-off one back to Onak. Onak to Carter. Carter up for Rubicki. Hits Kruger. Kruger chips one forward, battling. Puck comes into the neutral zone. Kruger's offsides. They got to touch up. Carter goes for a change. Puck into the netting. And Seidel comes out. So on that last face-off, looked like we tried to spring Kruger off of the face-off. 13:46. Kruger, Seidel, Bergeron. Kruger wins that back to Rybicki. Over to Onak. Onak chips it deep. Bergeron on the forecheck. Puck in the boards. Chippewa comes out with it, goes on to the near board. Hits Kruger's stick. Rybicki keeps it in. Rybicki chips forward for Kruger. Kruger, quick shot, blocked. Still in control. Tried to get it down to Bergeron. Comes up to Onak. Onak sidesteps the guy, moves it in, sidesteps another. Brings it, shot, and it's in. Onak with a second goal. So, Onak, I believe, unassisted, but we'll see what the score sheet says. So 13:15 remaining in the first. 2-0 Fury. Both goals by Onak. We'll get a line change. Palauskas, Nietzsche, Letcher with Onak and Rybicki at deep. Face-off controlled by Chippewa. Chippewa brings it in. A couple guys get tied up. Kid, looks like Kid hits his head. We're going to get a whistle. Everybody gets tied up. He fell. May have hit the... not sure how his head got hit. Well, we'll take a moment. Everybody's waiting. There was a trainer. He's up on one knee. Looks like we're going to help him get up. So making his way to the bench. I don't know where the trainer went. Oh, hopefully he's all right. All right, so face off outside the zone. Puck fired back in by Chippewa. Over to Rybicki. Rybicki takes a hit, but puck gets past. Palauskas trying to get the puck out. Gets knocked back in. Palauskas over to Onak. Onak hard off of the glass and up for Nietzsche. Nietzsche's there. Avoids contact. Still has the puck. Tries to pass it over. Gets deflected, and Palauskas comes up with it. Up to Onak. Fury has to regroup. Over to Rybicki. Rybicki dumps it in. Palauskas gives pressure. Guy goes over his back. Everybody seems to be okay. From that, puck comes out, and Onak over to Rybicki. Rybicki to Nietzsche. Nietzsche circling. Gets tripped. And we have a call on that, so we'll go on the power play here. Little extracurriculars. Nietzsche's stick gets knocked out of his hand. We're going to go on the power play. We'll get our unit out of Reynolds, Paolo, Chalicki, Chris Gintis, and Aldridge. .12:09 remain in the first. 2-0 Onak with both goals. Chippewa wins that faceoff and sends that puck all the way down. Aldridge regroups behind Dabrowski. Over to Paolo. Paolo cross ice for Prisgintis. Off of Prisgintis' stick, and he brings it in. Puck knocked away by Chippewa, but Chalicki with a big slap shot goes high. Prisgintis keeps it in. over to Reynolds, behind the net for Chilicki. Chilicki looking for Paulo, gets deflected, and Chippewa gets a hold of it. Puck tried to clear, Prusgin just keeps it in. Over to Chilicki. Chilicki up for Aldridge. Aldridge back over to Prusgintis. Cross ice, deflected, but makes its way to Paulo. Paulo's pass gets deflected over to Reynolds, and Reynolds is able to bury it. So Reynolds with the quick one-timer makes it 3-0. 11:23 left in the first. We're going to come out with Carter, Brown, and Kushkowski. Face-off controlled by Chippewa. Carter in on for a pressure. Chippewa brings it back in. Kushkowski gives him chase. Chippewa brings it back in, circling. Throws the ice to the middle. Brown is there. Brown gets a hold of it, and Chippewa takes it back. Back through the neutral zone for Chippewa. Chips it to the side. Carter's going to size up his guy, and they dump it. Prusgintis behind the net with Kushkowski over to the sideboard for Carter. Carter's got it. He's got room. Carter bringing it through. Got Brown on the side with him. Loses an edge. And puck comes up. Rybicki is there. Crossover for Brown. Brown dumps it in deep. Goes behind the net. Kushkowski on the pressure. Chippewa back over to the sideboard. Brown gets there first. Miller keeps it in over to Brown. Brown over to Kush. Kushkowski up for Miller. Save by Chippewa. Back into the corner. Miller down behind the net. Brown covering at D. And puck makes its way out. Tried to chip it past. Brown's there. Puts it back up. Chippewa goes for a change and brings it back into their zone. Brown changes. And Bergeron comes on. Chippewa brings it back into the zone. Miller knocks it away to Rybicki. Rybicki back to Miller. Over to Bergeron. Bergeron gets a stick on it and goes out. Chippewa regrouping. Gives Fury a chance to get a change. Seidel comes on with Kruger. Chippewa on the far board. Centering pass to the D coming into the zone. Shot wide. Chippewa with it in the corner now. Kruger harassing. Miller. Rybicki helps get that puck out of the middle of the ice. Chippewa now in the corner. Back behind the net. Rybicki's there. Rybicki tries to get it over to Bergeron. Misses. It goes down. They're saying it was touched. So no icing. Seidel gets there into the corner with Chippewa. Kruger gets it to knock away Bergeron. Puts it back over to Kruger. Kruger up to Aldridge. Aldridge quick shot. Goes wide. Onak is out. Onak gets interfered with. Puck comes off the boards weird. So no call on that. But puck comes back up to Onak. Onak shot. Almost tipped by Chippewa. Hits off the pad. Goes onto the sideboard. Chippewa leaves the puck. Bergeron puts it on net. Blocked by Chippewa. Back over to Aldridge. And Bergeron's going to go for a change. Onak with the puck now. Palauskas comes out with Nietzsche. Kruger's still out there. Palauskas hard shot into the stomach of the goaltender, and we'll get a stoppage. 8:44 remaining in the first. 3-0 Fury. Goals from Onak and Reynolds. Letcher comes out for Kruger. Chippewa intercepts Aldridge's pass. He's got one man in. Good job stepping up by Aldridge. Not a clean shot. Puck does get on Dabrowski, but he blocks it away. A little bit of physicality from Chippewa right now. Shot goes wide to the near board. Letcher chips it forward. We've got three. Nietzsche gets there first. Back to Letcher. Letcher bringing it behind the net. Looking for a spot. Finds Prusgintis. Prusgintis to Aldridge. Aldridge down for Nietzsche. Nietzsche loses the puck in his feet, but Palauskas is there to get it from Chippewa. To Aldridge. Aldridge gets a shot. It goes high. It's in front. Nietzsche gets an opportunity, but it goes wide. Puck over to Letcher. Letcher to Aldridge. Aldridge looking for space. Fires one on. Hits the glove of the goaltender. Chippewa gathers it off of the bounce and deflection over to Letcher. Letcher looking for a pass. Chippewa intercepts. Still trying to clear. Puck comes over to Przgintis. Przgintis gets a shot. Hits the glove of the goaltender. Back over to Miller. Miller's hard shot goes high. Off of the glass and back to Miller. Miller, one in front, off of the stick of the goaltender behind. Over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche up to Miller. Miller takes a hit, but the puck goes down. And we are coming back out as Chippewa puts it forward. Przgintis is there. Gets that over to Miller. Letcher. Reynolds has come on. And Paulo has come on. Letcher with the puck over to Przgintis. Przgintis escapes back over to Letcher. Letcher to Miller. Miller to Reynolds. Reynolds leaves it for Przgintis, and Przgintis is going to carry it in. We're going to say Paulo was offsides. So Paulo, Chalicki, Reynolds with Rybicki and Miller. 6:55 remaining in the first period. Face-off controlled by Chippewa. Off of the far board. Gets a strange bounce. Miller gets a stick on it. And Chalicki tries to send it in, hits the linesman. Chalicki gets in front of that pass. Chippewa still trying to get it out. It does finally make it to the neutral zone. Chalicki gets a stick on it, doesn't go anywhere. Still in the neutral zone. Miller gets it in over to Reynolds. Miller goes down to provide a screen in front. Puck to Paulo. Paulo gets it knocked away. Chippewa comes back the other way. Rybicki able to carry a puck in. And Chippewa sends it back out. No icing, saying it was tipped. Miller to Rybicki. Rybicki up, gets deflected. Chippewa gets in front, tries to get it through the neutral zone. Paulo gets a hold of it. Reynolds tries to pass over, hits a skate of Chippewa, and Chippewa looking to go back through the neutral zone. Rybicki gets in the way of that. Knocked Rybicki off the puck. Shot by Chippewa goes high and wide. Chalicki now into the zone. Tries to step through. Still has the puck, gets a shot on backhand, and goes for a change. Kushkowski comes out. Onak steps in front. Sidesteps the guy, takes a shot, blocked. Reynolds gets a big hit on a guy. Chippewa still gets it out one-on-one over with Aldrich. Aldrich ties this guy up. Puck on the boards. Brown comes in to help. Brown over to Reynolds. Reynolds has space. Carries it in, looking, hesitates, still controls. Over to Onak. Onak throws that puck in. Chippewa gets a hold of it. Chipped and past Onak. Brown comes in to help. Pins his guy. Onak takes that puck. Goes through the neutral zone. Carter's there. D to D. Chippewa tries to go through the neutral zone. Przgintis is back out. Gets in front. Carter. Przgintis. Przgintis got Brown and Kushkowski with him. Brings it in. Centering pass. Kushkowski just misses. Chippewa trying to get through. Gets past Miller. Miller able to get a stick on it though, and it's back the other way. Miller brings it. Brown goes for a change. Kushkowski dumps it in. Carter's still out there. Bergeron comes on. Chippewa avoids a little bit of contact, brings it through. 1-on-3. Bergeron pushes this guy to the side. Puck comes loose to Przgintis to the near board. Carter pins his man. Przgintis comes to help. Puck gets knocked loose in feet. Bergeron comes to help. Puck goes into the corner. Miller chips it over to Przgintis. Przgintis hard off of a stanchion and it bounces strange over to Carter. Kushkowski loses his stick. Chippewa goes the other way. Carter goes for a change. Pulauskas comes out. Kruger comes out. Puck hits the back of the net. Miller. Centering pass by Chippewa, blocked by Rybicki. Puck on the sideboards. Kruger working to dig it out. Rybicki's there to help. Bergeron is there. Chippewa still controls. Pass intercepted by Kruger up to Pulauskas. Pulauskas through the neutral zone. Tries to step through a guy. They knock it away. Puck behind the net. Chippewa tries to clear up. Onak is there. Onak shot. Gets hit in front. Chippewa hard off the glass. 3:05 remaining in the period. Rybicki over to Bergeron. Bergeron bringing puck in. Got Pulauskas, the stick gets lifted. Good look by Bergeron to try to get a streaking Pulauskas. Rybicki knocks the puck forward, in control, chips forward for Pulauskas. Icing is waved. He gets there first. Pulauskas takes a hit in the back, but still got the puck over to Kruger. Kruger gets it to Onak. Onak dumps it in. Pulauskas goes for a change. Still, Kruger came in too early, so offsides, but no whistle. They kept it going. Onak gets a hit on Chippewa. Chippewa's still in control. Aldridge is out. Letcher's come out. Kruger up for Letcher. Intercepted by Onak. Onak chips forward. And Letcher gets a hold of it. Nietzsche comes out. Reynolds is with Nietzsche and Letcher. Minute 55 remaining in the period. Puck through the neutral zone. Chippewa, one guy trying to bring it in. Up for Reynolds. Reynolds cuts through one, gets a shot off, it goes wide. Aldridge keeps it in. Nietzsche able to keep it in. Nietzsche gets hugged. And over to Brzgintis, who dumps it in. Brown comes out now. Puck over to the sideboard. Chippewa tries to bring it out, but Brzgintis is there. Brzgintis up for Letcher. Letcher chips it in, intercepted. Brown able to get to the puck first. Tries to sidestep a guy over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche gets a shot off. Letcher dumps it in deep. Puck over to the sideboard. Rybicki's there. Comes off Brown. Trying to get a hold of it. Puts it into the corner. Nietzsche gets a hit. Goes down on one knee. 53 seconds remaining in the period. Puck to the corner. Chippewa tries to get it out. Brown gets a hold of it from Miller, who knocked it loose. Miller still has it. Centering. Up to Letcher. Puck to the corner. Chippewa trying to get it out. Rybicki keeps it in. Rybicki sidesteps the guy. Shot. Goes high and wide. Back over to Miller. Miller. Down to the corner. Letcher goes for a change. Brown chips it deep. Back over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche to Brown. Brown up to Rybicki. Rybicki. Shot. Off of a pad. Miller keeps it in. Shalicki is out now. Puck hits a Chippewa player, and Chippewa finally gets a hold of it and brings it out to the neutral zone. Paolo's come out. 7 seconds remaining. Puck over to Brown. Off of his skate. And that'll be the end of the period. So 3 goals, 2 by Onak and 1 from Reynolds. 3-0 after the end of 1. So, injury update. Seidel going to the locker room. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but lines were a little mixed up after Seidel took some sort of injury. I'm not really sure what happened, but he came off the ice. right, so we're going to start the second period, 17-minute periods. Just a reminder, 3-0 after 1. 2 goals from Onak, 1 from Reynolds. We're going to start out with Chilicki, Paulo, Brown, Aldridge, and Onak. Face-off controlled by Fury over to Chilicki. Chilicki into the neutral zone, over for Paulo. Knocked away, but Brown keeps it in. Hits a skate. Paulo gets it over to Chilicki, but steel step in front of it. Onak up for Brown. Brown chips it in. Paulo's coming in hard. Gets a hold of it. Forward for Chilicki. Intercepted. Brown gets a hold of it. Looking for pass over to Chilicki. Chilicki back up to Onak. Onak down for Chilicki. Chilicki gets it behind the net. Through some skates. Chippewa gets a hold of it on the side goal. Steele dump it in. Onak comes in. Avoids contact. Chippewa player takes a little bit of a tumble. Up for Chilicki. Chilicki. Cross for Brown. Brown through the neutral zone. Chilicki streaking. Comes over to help. Up for Kuszkowski. Bounce off Kuszkowski's stick. And Steele go the other way. Steele waiting for a change. Looking for help. Cross ice. Intercepted by Prisgintis up to Carter. Carter to Kuszkowski. Bergeron is out. Chippewa gets past Kush. Kush gets a body. Ties the puck up. Carter coming in to help. Puck still in feet. Nobody knows where it is. Carter gets a hit on. Puck through and into the offensive zone. Good escape by Chippewa. Kush gets a hit. Puck underneath. Puck in the corner. Bergeron comes in to help. Puck tied up. Over to Bergeron. Bergeron gets some pressure. Still battling. Carter comes in to help. Hard hit into the boards. Puck comes loose. Chippewa through the neutral zone. Carries in. Over. Back and hits off some skates. Bergeron is there. Miller and a Chippewa player get tied up. Kuszkowski carries the puck in. Kush carries a guy with him. Up for Carter. Carter kicks it. Hits off of the pad in front. And Chippewa back the other way. Shot in front. Dabrowski saves it. Gets run into. But it is all right. Prisgintis and Miller at D. There's a stick in front. Looks like it's Prisgintis's. Chippewa gets a shot. Goes off of the stick in front and into the netting. We'll get a change. Thank you. Letcher, Nietzsche, Pulauskas come out with Onak and Rybicki. 14:27 remaining in the second. Puck comes loose to Chippewa. They go cross, hit by Letcher, and it's going to go down. Deflected, no icing, slowed down enough. Letcher gets to it. Up for Onak. Onak gets a shot in front. Still in feet. Pulauskas had a chance, but tie up by Chippewa. Over to Rybicki. Rybicki's shot is deflected. Pulauskas is there. Over to Letcher. Letcher looking for space. Over to Rybicki. Hits Rybicki's feet. Gets it down for Letcher. Letcher circling. Finds Rybicki back door. Puck in front covered. Pulauskas takes a swipe at the puck and Chippewa let him know. So the same personnel, no change. Nietzsche takes the draw, wins it back to Letcher, but gets knocked down. Chippewa puts it out of play. Face-off controlled by Fury. Onak sidesteps the guy, brings it through. Shot goes wide. Letcher controls in the corner. Letcher bringing it up, looking for options over to Rubicki. Rubicki back to Letcher, misses, and it goes behind for Pulauskas. Pulauskas brings it up the sideboard to Nietzsche in front. Nietzsche doesn't get all of it, and it hits the pad. Kept in by Rubicki. Chippewa sidesteps Pulauskas and brings it in. Puck in feet. Makes its way to Rubicki. Rubicki forward for Pulauskas. Pulauskas carries it in. Drops for Rubicki. Rubicki shot pass. What a tip by Letcher. Good save by Chippewa. Puck comes to the neutral zone and Onak is there. Reynolds and Chilicki have come out. Nietzsche goes for a change. Paolo comes out. And icing. 12:41 remaining in the second, still 3-0 Fury. Chippewa controls the faceoff, gets a shot from D, hits Prisgintis and the Chippewa player in front. Puck comes loose. Chilicki forward for Reynolds. No icing. Reynolds gets there first. Puck over to Paolo. Paolo to Chilicki. Puck comes loose in front to Aldridge, or loose on the sideboard to Aldridge. Aldridge tries to put it back in. Chippewa gets a hold of it. Puts it into the neutral zone. Aldridge over to Paolo, and Paolo back to Aldridge. Prisgintis up for Reynolds. Reynolds gets a stick lift, but puck comes down for Paolo. Paolo gets a shot, saved by Chippewa. Reynolds now looking for Paolo. Paolo tries to go Chilicki back door, misses, and Chilicki controls. Back over to Reynolds. Reynolds up to Chilicki. Able to avoid Chippewa. Gets a shot, it's blocked. Puck goes behind, Paolo's there. Chippewa chips to Aldridge. Aldridge's shot is blocked and goes to the far board. Prisgintis able to keep it in, absorbs the contact, and the puck comes back over to Chippewa. Change comes out. Kruger goes with Carter and Kushkowski. Kushkowski and Kruger 2-on-0. Kush takes a shot. Puck comes through the neutral zone. Chippewa trying to get past Aldridge. Aldridge gets a stick on it. Puck bouncing in front. Over to the corner. Miller is there. Over to Kush. Back to Miller. Miller for Aldridge into the corner. Chippewa gets it. Brings it back up. Circling. Looking for a spot. Puts it in front. Off of Dabrowski. Chippewa back to their D. Carter gets a hit on. Some battle in front with Miller. Miller dumps his guy. Puck goes wide. Miller's going to get a penalty here. I think it's going to be a rough. They were battling pretty good. So we're going to go on to kill. 10:32. Oh, Miller's going to get a trip. So Miller, 2 minutes for tripping, 10:32. Paolo, Reynolds. With Onak and Rubicki. Puck to the corner, Chippewa controlling. Chip up to their D. Back to the sideboard. Carry in shot. In front. Underneath Onak, still clear. Chippewa able to keep it in, goes back to the sideboard. Into the corner, Onak is there. Onak pinning. Trying to take some time off. Puck still underneath Onak. Comes loose. And behind the net for Chippewa. Chippewa looking for a centering pass. Makes it up to the far board. Back down and circling up. Middle of the ice. Back over to the wing and fired. Puck behind the net. Still behind the net. Onak battling. Gets a hard puck, weird bounce, and into the neutral zone. Paulo comes up to pressure. Chippewa looking for space in the neutral zone. Puck gets knocked away by Paulo and back into their defensive zone. Chippewa in the neutral zone. Letcher comes out. Rybicki controls, chips forward. Chilicki is down there. Hard. Chilicki goes hard in behind the net and pins the puck. Chippewa trying to get it out of Chilicki's skate. Puck comes loose. 26 seconds remaining on the Chippewa power play. Puck fired down by Aldridge. And Chippewa regroups. 13 seconds to go. Chippewa chips in. Aldridge is there. Hard off of the boards up to Chilicki. 4 seconds. Chilicki and Letcher have a 2-on-1. Over to Letcher. Letcher in front. Shot goes wide. Back over to Chippewa. Penalty's over. Chippewa gets a breakaway. On their own. And Dabrowski saved the low shot into his glove. Brown, Bergeron, Onak, and Rybicki come out with Kruger. 8:20 remaining in the second. 3-0 Fury. Kruger squares up. Chippewa controls the faceoff, bounces over the defender's stick and into the neutral zone. They dump it back in. Onak behind the net. Up to Rybicki. Rybicki looking for Kruger, intercepted by Chippewa. Brown controls the loose puck, gets it up to Bergeron. Bergeron brings it in. Brown comes to help. Brown looking for Kruger, but opts to get it over to Onak. Onak back to Brown. Brown brings it in, avoids the guy, back over to Rybicki. Rybicki shot in front, deflected, and over to the near board. Brown over to help. Puck goes into the corner. Brown pins his guy. Puck comes loose and up the side board. Chippewa into the neutral zone, dumps it back in. And Dabrowski decides to play it up to Brown. Intercepted by Chippewa, but Kruger lifts a stick, brings it in. Kruger with speed into the zone behind the net. Puck chipped away and over to the near board. Chippewa trying to bring it out. Brown goes for a poke check and misses. Kruger tries to tie up Chippewa. They bring it in. Lost an edge. Over to the near board. Blauskas comes out. Blauskas, puck goes to Miller to Brown. Brown looking forward. Chips it ahead for Kruger. Chippewa gets a hold of it and brings it back in. Stretch pass for Chippewa. Brings the puck in. Przgintis is there. Puck behind the net. Miller tries to chip it over for Kruger. Kruger ties up his guy. He's going to get a hook. So Kruger ties his guy up, gets a hooking call, and we're going to go back on the kill. Aldridge, Miller, Paulo, and Reynolds out for the kill unit. 6:32 remaining. Kruger in the box for hooking. Puck comes up. Chippewa goes over the side. Good pressure by Miller. Puck comes to the center. Misses everybody. Reynolds gets to it first. Avoids contact. Chippewa keeps holding it. Paulo to Miller. Miller is going to send it all the way down. Bounces and hits on net. Chippewa regroups. Chippewa through the neutral zone. Carries it through a few guys. Tries to get through the last guy and gets knocked away. Puck to the corner. Reversing course and it goes all the way out. Slowed down a little bit by some snow. And Paulo to Reynolds. Reynolds gets a shot. 2 shots. Both safe. Chippewa the other way. Shot wide. Chippewa regrouping. Reynolds gets a hit, and he's going to get a penalty for that one. So I'm not sure which way this is going to go. Let's take a look at what the official says. Yeah, he's going to get a 10-minute-er. All right, White takes a timeout. All right, so Brown's going to serve the 2 for Reynolds. Reynolds is going to be in there for 10 after the 2. 5:22 remaining in the second. Looks like we're going to go Letcher, Onak, Ribicki on the kill. So it'll be 5-on-3 when we come out of the timeout. Okay, 48 seconds remaining on the first penalty. 2 minutes on the second. Puck in feet. Still working. Chippewa comes away with it. Moves it up to their D. Down to the sideboard. From the dot, shot blocked by Ribicki. Ribicki hard off of the board and up. Chippewa keeps it in. D to D. Working. Blocked by Ribicki. Onak gets there, tries to chip it forward, able to keep it in. Puck. All right. So 3-1 after that power play goal, 5-on-3 goal. Puck kind of came loose to the side, and they're quick on the rebound. So we'll go back to 5-on-4 for 1:28. Paulo, Chalicki, Brzgintis, and Miller are out. Chippewa through the neutral zone. Paulo ties up his guy. They dump it back. Chalicki giving pressure. Chippewa goes back to the neutral zone. Puck comes loose. Miller gets there first and sends it down the ice. Chippewa back up. Back through the neutral zone. Avoids contact from one, avoids contact from another, brings it behind the net. Up to the sideboard. Across and in front. Puck hits somebody in front and goes wide. Brzgintis ties his guy up, gets to the puck. Got space, chips it ahead, intercepted by Chippewa and back over to the near board. Puck battling on the sideboard. Paulo and Chilicki. Chilicki gets to it, puts it behind the net. Chilicki goes for a change. Nietzsche and Kushkowski come out with Aldridge and Miller. Good stick by Kushkowski to knock that out. Chippewa dumps it. 10 seconds remaining on the kill. Puck comes out hard, goes into the neutral zone. Brown comes off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks Chippewa's gonna get too many men. So we're gonna go on the power play after too many men call. So our penalty had expired. Pulauskas came out. And during that, Chippewa had maybe 7 guys on. So Nietzsche, Kushkowski, Pulauskas with Miller and Aldridge. Miller puts it into the corner. Pulauskas gets a loose puck, gets a shot, goes wide to the far board. Chippewa clears. Dabrowski steps in, leaves it for Miller. Miller getting some pressure. Chippewa falls and is on the puck. Puck still in feet, trying to get it loose. Chippewa still working hard. Got a hold of Miller. Miller drops his stick because he was tied up. Aldridge able to escape and get the puck forward. Looking for Nietzsche. Puck over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche brings it in. Tries to set it up, drops it, and Chippewa gets away. Bad bounce off of that glass again. Puck stays in. Chippewa clears. Back to Dabrowski. Dabrowski up for Pulauskas. Over to Kushkowski. Kushkowski brings it in. Shot off of the stick. Reynolds is out. Over to Pulauskas. Pulauskas. Puck gets knocked away. Kushkowski gets a hold of it. His pass gets blocked. Tries to get it up to Aldridge. Aldridge back down to Kushkowski. Kushkowski looking for space. Finds Pulauskas, misses him, and it goes in the corner. Miller is there. Miller gets tied up. Puck back over to Miller. Paulo is out. Shot Aldridge. Gloved down by Paulo and shot off of the goaltender. Pulauskas. Over to Onak. Onak sidesteps a guy. Tries to get a shot. Gets a little bit of a hook on his arm there, but still in control of the puck. Kushkowski to Paulo. Over to Pulauskas. Pulauskas shot blocked behind the net. 9 seconds remaining on the power play. Chippewa gets a hold of it. They get a breakaway. Aldridge trying to get a hold of Lissa's stick and is able to just get enough on it. Shot goes wide. And the penalty is over for Chippewa. We're back to even strength. Chippewa shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Chippewa has 6. They're going to get another too many men penalty. So Chippewa, too many men. We're going to go back on the power play. Paulo, Chilicki, and Letcher with Onak and Rybicki. Fury control that face off. Over to Rybicki. Rybicki down for Chilicki. Chilicki trying to get it across to Onak, but gets hit. Onak does eventually get it after Letcher pushes it forward. Back over to Rybicki. Rybicki for Chilicki to Letcher. In front. Bounces off of his skate and a shot. Puck is in front. Paulo getting some business in front. Letcher's going to take this face off. Chippewa comes up with it after the tie-up and carries it through. Onak tries to separate, gets a shot off. Apollo takes the rough ride into the boards. Chippewa puts it back in. Minute 23 remaining on the power play, 30 seconds to go in the period. Puck chipped over to Apollo. Apollo carries it in. Apollo leaves it for Chilicki. Chilicki back down for Apollo. Apollo gets, or Letcher, I'm sorry. Letcher, puck gets taken and brought back in. 9 seconds. Looks like Chippewa trying to pin it. Chilicki gets a hold of it. 2 seconds to go. Letcher holds on to it, and we're going to go to the ice cut. All right, so we're going to go to ice cut. I am going to put it on mute, and we'll be back after the ice cut.